Well, the committee looking at the future of public service broadcasting in the Isle of Man continues. This time we've got Sally-Anne Wilson who's representing Commonwealth broadcasters, I believe, and Manx Radio is a member of that group, is it?
Yeah, Manx Radio is a member of the Commonwealth Broadcasting Association, but our members are in the Commonwealth and beyond, so we really are the largest global association of public service broadcasters. So we have many large members like the BBC, but it's national broadcasters.
So what did you have to bring to this committee? What gems of information do you think?
I think that's a question for the committee, not for me. But I think what we do provide is a global perspective. And I think what you really have here, I was asked about small jurisdictions, and it's very difficult to compare them because they are sitting in very different parts of the world with very different economies. You have such an amazing reputation with the Tynwald, with democracy, and with a very solid financial reputation. I mean, I'm aware that in a lot of the recent debate over global finance, the Isle of Man's reputation in terms of disclosure has stayed up, and it is a very good, solid environment. And so having a solid public broadcaster with solid accountability, to my mind, you're in a wonderful place to showcase to the world what you can do.
And you were quite a fan of Manx Radio in the meeting. I mean, you were saying that they need more help, I suppose, because you were more about their staffing levels, but you think they're doing a very good job. I mean, you've mentioned that in the past the website, for instance, has been held up as a model of how other broadcasters in your organisation should do it.
I think that's because long before I was asked to come to the Isle of Man and give evidence, back in 2008, we looked at all of our members, and we're aware that there are many practices from Manx Radio and from its sitting in being the national broadcaster for the Isle of Man that actually would translate very well and be a great example for other broadcasters to aspire to, in terms of the way that you're fortunate you live in a very social media aware economy and country, and actually some of our other broadcasters could benefit from seeing how well social media, new media works alongside radio, with radio actually being a driver for social media. So I think some of those things really are an excellent example globally, and we've thought that for a long time.
But obviously you're aware that the whole committee's sitting because the finances are so tight now that things will have to change by the looks of it.
Yes, I think it's something, again, that's in the global, the way the media markets are changing, but also the way the global economy, people are looking at funding. But I think if you have decided you want a public service broadcaster and you acknowledge what it does in terms of being the cultural glue, if you like, and binding the people who are part of the community, part of the nation together, then I think you have to ensure that it's funded effectively enough to operate at reasonable levels.
Now, you've had a look around Manx Radio. What did you make to it?
I had a very brief look around this morning for the first time. It's the first time in the Isle of Man, and it's a building, but I talked to the people and I found that and I've also been listening, which is probably the best test rather than looking at a building, that it is somewhere where people are committed and stretched, but committed and really want to achieve the best they possibly can.
And finally, because obviously Manx Radio is part of your group, are you here to represent them in that sense and try and push their part of the argument or not? Absolutely
not. I mean, we represent our public service broadcasters globally, and I have been honest absolutely with the select committee in giving a global perspective on how many of the questions didn't relate just to Manx Radio. They related to other structures of other broadcasters globally, and obviously talked about the BBC or ABC Australia, so it wasn't specifically to promote Manx Radio. I mean, we're here to represent the interests of public service broadcasting.
And therefore, do you think Manx Radio has got a future?
Yes, I think it has, and I think if there can be some stability, because I understand, and from a quick look back, there has been a number of reviews. I think there has been some public debate. I think it seems that there is clear that public service, having a national public service broadcaster is a need to have, not a nice to have. Then once that's established, it's then just working through the mechanisms for how actually it will be funded and how it will be, the actual structure should be set up. much.